G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talks Stuff Ukraine War Update for the 1st of June 2026. The countdown has begun. 28 days, I believe, before we'll hear something about Ukraine, and it will be sharp, and of course it'll come from the President of the United States himself, although it could be delivered by Vance or Rubio. I believe it'll be delivered by Trump, calling for an end to this conflict. I think once he's looked at the Iranian deal in 2 weeks, we'll hear more. But in the meantime, there'll be a dance that I believe we'll start to hear public statements about the Ukrainian settlement. Zelensky himself has made statements recently saying that the time is narrowing. So he himself has recognised that. Now, I'd like to address this viral video about T-72s in Ukraine. Those tanks were delivered 4 years ago. Czechoslovakia's lost half of its 50 tanks that have been sent to, allegedly, but two things. T-72s, medium tank, mainstay of, until the T-80, of the Warsaw Pact. And the Russians have made tiers of tanks because the lesser tanks were for its allies. Never give your enemies the better weapons, says the British. Always. Used to be. Right, you can have rifles, but we'll keep the guns, thank you very much, and our forts. Yeah. Just like America doesn't hand over its Tomahawks or HIMARS, it leases them or loans them or sets limits on them. Make sure you don't go sneaky peeky. Now, the T-72 video is actually 4 years old. Initial phases of the war of Czechoslovakian T-72s and Polish T-72s did quite well. In recent times, both Russia and Ukraine have noted and exploited weaknesses in the T-72 at the base of the turret to basically, they know the thickness of, and they know the explosive power required, and they have been basically jamming, ramming, and trying to pretty much drop drones on each other now for weeks, months, to embarrass, to out-propagandize each other. The reality is, for every Russian T-72 that goes boom, a Ukrainian T-72 goes boom. A viral video is just a viral video because people want something to feel good about. You should not feel good about a war and the death of others, even if you consider them your enemy. So all these Democrats lecturing us about love thy enemy, ask them to love a Russian, will you? See how far that gets you. Now, again, the death of the C-72, another viral video. That's again a video that I've recently just looked at and saw. T-72s hit with the base of the turret near the loader, sympathetic detonations. Again, it's the fact that they know each other's tanks all too well. And the same with Leopards. As I said yesterday, Russia has multiple variations of the Leopard now. The last big one was the A7, which allegedly has never been captured or never been defeated. Now, there's very few tanks now that haven't been defeated. And this would be, I think Poland is it T-84 or T-94? I think those two are the only ones so far that have not been hauled to Moscow. And also because there's hardly any of them, and they're more used as mobile artillery than frontline tanks. And I think the only other piece of equipment that Russia hasn't hauled back also is a HIMARS. Although that is disputed. It's believed they might have got hold of some technology, aka unexploded HIMARS rockets, but that's about it. And again, any reason. Now, unexploded ordnance is a big, tricky deal. You heard recently there was an unexploded ordnance incident in Iran, killing 30 Chinese. Now, again, I've said many times, if Ukraine had put, instead of scattering, I can understand if initial phases of the war, Ukraine started off quite well. So maybe not signing the peace deal might have made sense to a lot of people. But war is fickle. It doesn't decide who's right or wrong. It decides who's left. And I think, please, Zelensky, realise this. It only decides who's left. It doesn't decide who wins. Because winning is very highly objective. And so it's very highly subjective. And you may think you won a war, but you haven't. We haven't won wars. Okay? All you've done is win a few battles here and there and lost a lot of people doing it, and that's not winning. Okay? So it's a blood-filled trophy. You know, it's made of human. It's a blood-filled trophy made of human skulls. After World War II, people started to become very sober and realised what a hollow victory it was. Half of Europe was destroyed, the other half under Soviet boot. Entire industries moved to America. Now, Europe is trying to reverse that. But their fortunes have been managed by gambling addicts. The stock market is a sophisticated Keno machine. You may see, Russia's numbers have gone up slightly, but not the 50 points that they needed. They only rose by 48. They rose close to 50 points, but 48.8. Not bad, but it's still well short of their production targets that they need to achieve each and every month. It's estimated they need 50 points a month to stay in this war, that each setback is less tanks on the front, less ammunition, etc. Each delays in production have probably why we have not seen a major offensive. But there are also rumours on Telegram that Putin never planned a major offensive since 2023. The last being the last push into Bakhmut. Since then, it's been smaller, incremental battles and more grinding. That he slowed the war to increase the pace of Russia's economic recovery, though it has not met those incremental 50-point achievements in the manufacturing index to fully replace the loss of European industries. But no one achieves their economic targets. Not Trump, not Putin, not Xi, not Zelensky by a large measure. Zelensky only meets his targets because Eurocash, and Europe isn't meeting their targets or even trying to meet their targets. They set ambitious goals and then stop reporting on them. There isn't a country in the world. I mean, yes, they talk about the Chinese economic miracle, and that was propaganda, and by the late 2000s, already then they started questioning the Chinese miracle, and lately no one talks about the Chinese miracle, only the Chinese betrayal and tofu dregs, and fake figures. And that's what we go into with this war, a lot of fake figures. How many drones? Estimate. But they say 229 and 212. But then we go to, 212? Says here 228 and 265. And it could be the time of day. That says 8:30. This was, however, 8:18. So, no, it can't be the time of day. Suddenly, somehow at 8:30, there were less drones than about. Yeah, so, again, it is baffling how 6 news services from one source can't get it right, and that sums up Ukraine. Was there a battle here today? Most likely. Was there going to be? Yeah, that is about it. Now, we do know Russia hit Ravine. Again, we do know Russia hit Mykolaiv and Odessa. Pretty sure they hit Dnipro and Kharkiv and Kiev. But they hit other areas, and shelling in Sumy almost daily. Almost. And Russia taking little positions on the border almost every day. Most of them are nameless. Most of them are just, they move in, set up. Now, I've seen the video a few years ago. I've seen what the border looks like. Russia border over 20 years from the Soviet era was pretty degraded. They dug up a lot of mines. They took down a lot of the checkpoints. They left a lot of concrete bunkers to decay, and they check and clear them out every so often. And they come in. Sometimes they occupy, and every so often the Ukrainians chase them out again. But the Russians come back, and the Ukrainians chase them out. This has been going on since 2022. It's almost a game rather than a real war. But in some areas, it's definitely a real war where Russia is extended beyond the border. Now, they haven't taken much territory here, and they are sitting. But it looks like, the Ukrainians tried to retake Lyman. They've been able to hold out on Vilcha for so long now, it's cliche. And that's about it. But they have slowly pushing out here, and if the Ukrainian lines collapse, it most likely go across here. But it is reported that the Russians and Ukrainians are fighting in the state forestry. Patrols also along the border clash. But as we go down here, the Russians have expanded their front again, and incursions into Kupiansk, and they're on the outskirts of Kupiansk again. How long they stay there, who knows? Whether they're able to dig in or advance, again, who knows? That's tomorrow. We'll see how far they get. But for now, they have made small gains, but it's where they've been not once but twice before. Maybe third time's the charm, right? Here, the Russians are starting to go around Brezhnev, and they are fighting the Ukrainians in the state forestry here as well, all through here. They are making gains very slowly. They have advanced here. This hub or heart of Lyman here, in the outskirts of the military base. The Russians are back on it. It's just the map hasn't updated. And assault forces through here as well. Again, believed to be further in than marked. That patrols and Russian assault special forces and assault forces and infiltration forces all go into the forest to look for Ukrainians, and Ukrainians are waiting for them and patrolling for them. Now, Kravdeluka has survived the Russian assault, but the Ukrainians have not pushed them back. A day ending in Y. This area of the map changes often without any reported battles or counter-offensives. It's just the way they keep redrawing the map. Nothing really has happened. Occasional spats, but no major offensive. There's only small incursions and grinding actions. And when the lines collapse, most of the time Russia doesn't advance. But here today, they've advanced a little bit in here. Bershtok officially has not fallen. Ivaninka has lost more territory, as has Dovna Blukla. A little bit of movement here. A little bit of movement here. They've slowly crept north here. An odd push to to Cauldron Vilna. Okay. Well, a little bit of advance here. Fighting here with no actual movement. Fighting here with no movement. They've pushed around Nova. They've advanced here. Going around to take the last of the capturing a bridge and pushing over. Again, the Ukrainians seem to forget that Russia doesn't need to hold the bridge. They can have troops come up the other side. Depends on availability, however. But they are moving to Cauldron, this area here, and take care of the Ukrainians who are entrenched in zigzags up and down this area. Again, it's mostly patrols. They don't always permanently occupy trenches. They are mostly occupying towns. And as I said, the Russians were unable to hold this town, but not completely obliterated nor pushed back. Both sides are still contesting this town here, as I thought that unless the Russian army could advance in all four areas, it was probably an ambitious commander who probably thought the Ukrainians had retreated and instead were just lying in wait on the north side of town. How often has that happened? More often than not. And he should have known better and shelled all the positions before going in. But it happens. You don't win every battle. But pushing and shoving going on here with no real change. No real change. Nothing significant, but still movement. But the gap between is only only slightly less, like 500 meters or so. It's not. There's no real. It's just more getting closer. The real part is if they push up river on both sides, taking control of the crossings. But again, they have to grind the Ukrainians. And as we see, is here. Is that one there? There's, I think, yeah. See, there are places where there are no bridges that are mapped on the map. But I think there is one here. There is a crossing here they are fighting over. I just see, there it is. That's what they're fighting over. They're crossing here. The Russians are coming around. The Ukrainians are holding the crossing. And it's Yeah. But the Russians can come this side, come up this road. Now, where is the next crossing that is marked? I think might be Orkiv, but if I remember rightly, the Ukrainians did put in concrete blocks into some rivers to stop boats and also be used as submerged crossings for amphibious assault vehicles. We're having to go fully amphibious, just basically roll over the concrete blocks, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that there's crossing, yeah, not marked, but I'm pretty sure there was talk about a crossing here that the Ukrainians had taken out. That there are a few Ukraine has rarely blown up a bridge, by the way. Usually it has been to stop the Russians, but don't forget, there used to be a crossing up here. The Russians have taken it. There was a crossing up here somewhere too, and I think the Ukrainians destroyed it. Not sure the crossing at Kherson is intact. Russia did bring up bridging equipment, but called off an assault. So, yeah. That's the state of the war. No, nothing strategic has changed. Now, a brief word for a reminder that this channel is sponsored by you, the viewing audience. Empire Valves, that's my Empire Valves, one word, empirevalves.myshopify.com, for intending treasures based on my writing. Thank you for your support. Romania has not ruled out expulsion of the Russian ambassador, but has sent a message to Putin to please not harm any Romanians while it attacks Ukraine. That's a pretty interesting statement. And Russia has, however, responded to claims of 20 or 30, which is it, that, whether or not Russians deliberately attacked, but Russia must end its attacks on Ukraine, stated. That was just after talks with Zelensky on the 29th. And interviewer believes a number of people are angry, saying that his statement lacked humanity. He's not sure. Okay, he is not sure and not putting a definitive statement that Russia did the attack. He knows people in his own country do not believe it. This Shahed drone was not a Shahed drone, it was a Shahed style drone, and it wasn't distinctively Russian. It wasn't distinctively Iranian. It wasn't distinctive to be, this came from this plant. No. And that says PSYOP. That says third-party intervention. Now, Ukrainian air defenses, more likely than not, did shoot down around 200 out of anywhere between 250 and 270 drones, right? So anywhere from 200 to 230 was shot down, and around anywhere from 250 to 270 drones hit multiple points in Ukraine. But Ukraine, like sore losers, are only going to tell us Ukraine was hit, and various debris, which is unusual, also admit that debris had hit, and give us the usual statement about we presented a united front in a defense of repelling the attack. You didn't repel the attack. They didn't turn back. They got shot down. There's a difference. Defending, not repelling. There's a difference. again, it comes down to the ignorance of the language. Now, Russia's primary manufacturing index is healthy, but did not reach target. Therefore, it's signalled by S&P as a modest decline. That they need at least that they are not rising as fast as they were in this time last year. But 48.8 as opposed to 50 is still close enough to the target. Now, manufacturing purchases is one of the more healthy indexes than GDP, because you know whether or not the growth of inputs and rose, because private industry does not buy more unless it has actual goods to make. They're talking about the rate of growth has declined. So it's not it's a contraction. That means the rate of growth has decreased. Does not mean Russia's manufacturing has decreased, that it has increased only marginally. But Ukraine, Russia's in decline, everybody, because they always go for the lowest common denominator, outrageous statements to feel good about themselves and go, we're in the right, we're in the right. But today, Ukraine stood before the UN and said, I didn't do nothing. Right? Like, you're bragging every other day about your drone strikes. All of a sudden, oh, wait, what do you mean cookie policies updated? Okay, cookie policies updated. Yeah, the other day, we struck Russia, we struck Russia, we struck Russia. Yeah, but they don't tell you about all the drone strikes, all the deaths, and now they suddenly want to deny they struck a school when they previously said we struck a military training centre. They did, and they've taken it down. No point in rehashing this. Ukraine is protected from the consequences of its own actions. That is wrong. Isn't it amazing? People will criticize Israel for less, but not criticize Ukraine. The same people don't criticize Ukraine, but they'll go after Israel. Is it that they have a hate motive for Israel? Because they don't go after anyone else as vehemently or as equally. You should go after Iran for attacking the UAE, or attacking Oman, or threatening Saudi Arabia. Well, that's a day ending in Y, though. That's the problem, isn't it? It's not dramatic enough, is it? Gotta attack Israel to be trendy, but don't attack Ukraine because they're defending themselves. Again, that's subjective politicking instead of having a moral stance. So the left is proving yet again it has no morals. And the left will just say, what about the right? I don't give a fuck what you claim. You have to fix your own backyard, you imbecilic children. You completely devoid of morals. People who lecture us about Christ being a socialist or liberal, well, sell your cloak and buy a sword then. So go preach Christ. Right? And I thought Christ also said, those who don't work don't eat. So, yeah, he was pretty moderate to me, middle of the road, not a liberal, that's for sure. Because liberals don't know the meaning of the word liberalism. I swear they don't. I absolutely think they don't. I think they just pick the most flippant, lowest common denominator, low IQ slogans. Orwell warned us about this. It is, yeah. Now, not everyone is a dumbass, but the dumbasses, of course, humanoid robots. Now, US company Foundation Futures Industries is testing robots in Ukraine. Now, Phantom Mark 1 prototypes. I'm going to do another search just in case I was wrong. Yeah, I know, Google. You're going to tell me to use DuckDuckGo? No. Yeah, San Francisco Startup Foundation, robotics designed for hazardous tasks, reconnaissance, combat support. It's the first humanoid platform built for military operations. And there we go. We do have, I missed it earlier, can carry up to 20 kilograms at speed of 1.7 meters per second, approximately 6 grams. It's pretty humanoid. It's average human. 20 kilograms, average human, 44 pounds. There we go. Does it look... Oh, it looks like a boomer bot. Only, that's the friendly version. There's the I kill you. But I think that's 100,000. That's actually pretty cheap for a humanoid robot. And I kill you. Walter, yeah, look him up. Walter the robot. Walter the puppet. I kill you now. So it has a camera, hybrid AI, testing in Ukraine since February 26. Two early stage prototypes, testing scope, frontline combat. No. They were transporting supplies, conducting reconnaissance in areas too dangerous for humans. But prototypes have been tested with firearms ranging from pistols to shotguns to M16s, but the keyword being dummy mock-up prototypes with limited They do not have combat zone durability nor waterproofing. So they were tested. They were not given armor or no plasma weapons. Sorry, folks, no plasma, no plasma weapons in the 40 kilowatt range, right? Yeah. Sorry, folks. No Arnold Schwarzenegger on the battlefield. No Terminators. Sorry, folks. No, nothing to see here. Silence, perhaps? Who knows? But it does. Of course, what was Russia going to do about it? Other than mock the fact that it's Donald Trump's company. I mean, they keep telling us that Donald Trump is doing nothing for Ukraine. You know? My guess is assess the situation. Send a couple of prototypes in. Dangerous zone. Probably the outskirts of Kurispol or in the industrial center in the grey zone. Now, yeah, the fact that it's foggy is the Ukrainians call it the grey zone, no man's land. It is about 300 meters width between the two forces. It's not. They are very close to each other. They are within spitting distance of each other. If they stand up, and they stand up and says, "Anybody got sugar?" Bang! It's heads down in the trenches, right? But that's the state of the war. Okay. So, back in February, a couple of robots rocked up, took some pictures, went home, and Trump decided that, Iran was more important. Sorry, Zelensky, you're just not that important. Europe's got to clean up its own backyard. What is wrong with that? For decades, Europe has been complaining about American interference. Clean up your own backyard. Well, why don't you clean up your own backyard? Now, yes, systematically, Europe has tried to isolate Russia, taking away satellite after satellite, right? Antagonizing and trying to niggle their way through. Right? There's Iran. Right? There's Turkey. There's their homeland, Turkmenistan, by the way. And that's the scope of the conflict. Not very big, but it's still bigger than most. I mean, it's a very wide front, lots of holes, lots of each other's forces going through those holes every day, and lots of people dying every day. But for some people, it is a sport in which they sit there, read the news, and pat themselves on the back. I meant propaganda. And boy, is there propaganda every day. But you can see how baffling and difficult it is to actually get solid information out of Ukraine, where just in the span of 20 minutes, the number of Russian drones and impacts goes down. Oh, we just adjusted the figures. No, you didn't. You realise they made you look bad. So, when you care more about looking good than doing the right thing, you're a propagandist, not a good person. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You can support the channel on Ko-Fi, Patreon. Buy my books, buy my merch. That's Empire Valves, one word, empirevalves.myshopify.com. What has your mug done for you lately? See you in the next video, and bye for now.